Cassava farmers are facing a challenge of whitefly pests, which are also vectors of cassava brown streak disease and cassava mosaic. Cassava brown streak disease leads to the rotting of tubers, leading to a loss in yield and quality, while cassava mosaic causes shrinking of the leaves, which in turn leads to low yield. As a pest, whiteflies feed on cassava leaves that turn yellow. As a result, they fall off prematurely, leading to 70 to 100% yield loss. The National Agricultural Research Organization is implementing the African Cassava Whitefly Project to help farmers in major cassava growing regions to fight whitefly.
First of all, we have been getting teachers here who have been teaching us how to plant cassava, and they have been giving us even the chemicals that to use when we are controlling those pests, and they have been teaching us ways of how to spray the cassava.
Previously, many farmers around this area have been growing the sugar canes, but because of the problem of the marketing and getting the permit from META, which takes 3 years, when they looked at the narrow project and they have participated a lot, they have resolved to growing cassava in various areas. And I know within 2 to 3 years, Makwata will be a cassava growing area.
The project is working with farmer groups in Ruwero, Buikwe, Kamuli, Kumi, Palisa, Srera and Bujiri districts, which are considered to have the high burden of whiteflies.
The crop remains protected, okay? The farmer remains safe, and also the environment remains safe. That's the 3 objectives that they're trying to achieve here. That while we are going to use the pesticides in a crop like cassava, 1, it must make economic sense, which they are trying to investigate. But also 2, they are trying to promote judicious use of the chemical. People should not go on a spraying spree, you know. So that's what we are looking at. That if we are able, for example, like one of the treatment is dipping. If dipping alone is able to protect the crop, and then the farmer gets the yield that he or she deserves, and the farmer is not exposed to spraying after the crop has sprouted, the environment will be safe, we'll be using less of the chemical, and everyone wins.
Under the project, the whitefly is fought through dipping of cassava stems before planting and regulated spraying in early stages.
We have come up with very limited use of insecticide to spray this cassava and kill this insect, reduce the damage, so that farmers in the short run can have their cassava which they can use for food and income. So what are we doing with the farmers? As researchers in Naro, we have come up with limited use of insecticide in the first 4 months of the crop growth, what we call the critical period when whitefly attacks cassava. And when it is young, and when it feeds heavily because it sucks the liquid in it, it can kill it. The chemical we are using at the moment is what we call systemic. That means it gets into the cassava. So we have different regimes, application styles. 1, the cuttings, the cassava cutting is dipped in that chemical and planted. Now that will protect the cassava maybe up to 2 months after germination, and then the chemical disappears. So as a research, we found out that you can then spray 2 more times within the 1 to 4 months, and then you will control this whitefly very well. Research has found that cassava which is 5 months and beyond is an old cassava, and this whitefly may not change anything much in it.
The cassava crop in Uganda is among the top 10 priority crops for food security and income generation.
We know that cassava is the 2nd most important stable food crop after bananas. And this crop is helping us to run towards agro-industrialization. And it is becoming a commercial crop because many farmers are growing it. And we are trying to make farmers realize the value of cassava as not only a food security crop, but also a commercial.
Farmers are also being encouraged to embrace value addition in order to realize more incomes. Adiana Kuti, UBC.